What is happening, folks? What is today? Is today still Tuesday? Today's Tuesday, right? Yes, it's today. It's still Tuesday. So happy Tuesday. How you doing? I'm Andy Vitale, host of My Fight Our War and co-host of Music and Mayhem with my brother Skylar Ray. And it is absolutely beautiful here in Detroit, Michigan. And as you guys know, usually when I jump on to do lives, especially if I'm outside, I it turns into a freaking weather report. I swear to God, I didn't even realize that until a friend of mine um, was telling me that. And we're sitting there chit chatting, and they're like, if this whole podcast thing doesn't work out for you, you can jump in and throw your hat in the weatherman category. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He goes, dude, check out all your lives. It starts out, how you doing? Manny Vitelli, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful day here in Detroit, Michigan. It is sunny. It's about 60 degrees. We've got a slight breeze out of the north, about 5 miles an hour. We've got partly cloudy skies. And it's like, holy shit. So there you go, folks. If one day you do not see my man, my wolf behind me, the logo for My Fight Our War, and you see the map of the United States, it's because I'm doing Brad McLeod. I was just about to talk about you. My brother, Brad McLeod from Sober School. I had the pleasure of just talking to him a little while ago. And I had the honor of being a guest on Sober School. I'm sorry, Sober School with Brad McLeod. God, it was almost 2 years ago. And it was my very first podcast. And Brad gave me that opportunity. And it went great. I had a great time. And it's because Brad kind of led me and helped me tremendously. And I always talk about Brad and I always talk about Dan and Donna from Hard Knocks because they helped me tremendously. And is this check? Just sitting here because I was dicking around with these controls, so I'm not sure if the mics got switched around or not. So if I sound like shit, let me know. And there you go, Eric Mortez. Eric, how you doing, man? And Brad, thank you for reaching out with some people who are going to be guests on our show. And again, it's all because of what we're doing and the people we're helping. And I can't say enough about Brad and and everybody else who has given me a chance. And I told him years ago, literally, I can say that now, and it sounds absolutely crazy saying that. That afterwards, I was asking, I go, how long does it take to really, get going in this whole podcast world? And he goes, it takes a while. And I'm like, and he was giving me some time. I'm like, screw that. I want to do it even faster. I want this. I just wanted to jump in, and that's what I did. And with their help, I glad to say things are going great. So Brad McLeod, sober is cool. Thank you so much. And there's my brother King Handsome, um, Donald Blow. How you doing, brother? Donald's going to be on the show, and again, Eric, right here. Tentatively have everything set up for Mr. Eric to be on My Fighter War this coming Friday. I do have to get the okay. I've been put in timeout. I was thrown in the corner because I don't do the best jobs when it comes to scheduling and stuff like that. So OG takes care of all that stuff because I have a tendency just to say yes. Man, you want to do the show? Yes. Can we come on the show? Yes. You want to come out to New York, do the show? Yes. Okay, we're going to do this live event. You want to speak on it or be a guest speaker? Yes. And then when I inform OG about it, she's just shaking her head. She's like, okay, this day you now have 3 shows at the exact same time. This show that you said you're going to do, we are going to be in the air flying to New York. So in other words, I've been put in timeout. So this is tentatively, but it looks like that we're going to work on getting Eric this coming Friday. And Brad, I hope you're still watching here because I put in for the show that you're talking about that we discussed earlier. and it had the original date for me to do it was Thursday, the 20th, which I put down, got everything set. And as I said, I didn't check with the one and only admin, and I already had a show scheduled. So it said reschedule, which I did do. And um, so I switched it. So I hope it went through because it's for tomorrow, is what it told me. For Brad, this is for you for the show that we were talking about doing. Um, I switched it for tomorrow at 1:30. So I really hope that that's switched because when I just checked my email, it's still showing the same time for Thursday. So maybe you could just check that out just to make sure because I do not want to miss this. Like I said, Brad McLeod, man, I cannot say enough about those guys, and we got something going on here that I get to be part of that I am really looking forward to. So to say I appreciate it is just not enough. I love you, brother, and looking forward to. You know how much money I had to pay him for all of this stuff, for that, for this, you know, everything. I mean, I'm not working right now because of my shoulder issue. So the little money income I have coming in is all going to Brad for these kind words. And of course, we got King Handsome in the house. And love you, brother, man. You are just tearing it up. Congratulations with um, your signing, with your music. I mean, you are just tearing it up. And it's such an honor not only to know you, but to be able to call you brother, man. You are just um, kicking ass. Um, it's just the thing with you, man, is you show up. Most people just talk about. Well, that's one thing, Brad, that we talked about too when I was on your show. Is I'm just coming on and I'm just going to be me. And when I first started this, if it wasn't for you guys kind of guiding me down this pathway, I had no clue what the hell I was doing. But and I'm still reaching out like, what the shit? But the one thing I always said was I was going to be authentic. I was just going to be me. And I really appreciate you and Dan and Don and the people who have helped me because I remember you guys telling me to be very careful about who I associate with and who I put my name next to as far as associating with, because when the camera stops rolling, all are not what they seem. And, I'm a pretty good judge of character. And with my background as a former police officer in Detroit and riding with a 1% motorcycle club, um, it takes a lot to get something past me. But that being said, you know, when you jump into something new, like what I'm doing here, you just don't know. So you learn as you go. And thanks to Brad and Donna, um, I followed their advice, and because of them, I'm where I'm at now. And again, it means the world to me, man. So anytime I get a chance to help anybody, I'm all in, and I definitely am. Stacy, how you doing? And Stacy, that is my brother Skylar Ray's mom, who's chiming in here as well. So yeah, it's just I was on earlier, and I actually had a chance to talk to Brad. Um, Continues to help out. This isn't a one and done when you're doing what we are doing when you're dealing with any type of addiction, mental health issues, anything that's basically messing our lives up is something that's a never ending battle. It really isn't. I mean, it's not going anywhere. So either are we. We've been around for a long time. We're not inventing a wheel, man. There's been organizations, families who have been doing this for a long time, man. Um, but for whatever reason, it seems to be getting swept under the rug. People don't want to talk about it. People look at addiction and mental health issues like it's taboo. It's like, well, we don't want to talk about that in public. Well, that's where you're supposed to talk about it. You need to get this shit out there. You talk about cancer, you talk about MS, you talk about diabetes in public. Start fucking talking about addiction and people dying in public. If we don't talk about it, people are going to continue to die. Um, so for all those who have helped me and continue to help me, I love you guys. And together we have built one amazing family. And to be part of it is just a blessing. And if all goes as planned, as I'm looking down at my little cheat sheet of everything to do here, I got to talk to OG, and I will be getting back to Eric. And hold on a minute now. Just want to make sure um, that we are good to go for Friday. We will confirm that. But also just want to make sure that we are good to go with my brother Brad McLeod for tomorrow. Um, it is so cool to do what we do, man. The people you get to meet. I've said it before, and I had a few people kind of. It's kind of all the time, man. The looks I get when I'm doing like public speaking or if I'm out just discussing stuff. Um, and I talk about all of us. I'm like, you know what? My fight or war, sober school, hard knocks, all of the just incredible families that are out there. Sober school. Um, it's just, we're all one family. It's just an extended family. We've all got different names, just like our extended family. And I remember one time saying I can't remember who the guest was. And I said, isn't it kind of weird, man? We actually got a thank addiction because if it wasn't, and he was just like, thank addiction. What the hell are you talking about? I go, hey, if it wasn't for all the terrible shit that happened in our lives, I never would have started my fight or war. You wouldn't have started your, organization. We wouldn't be talking right now. So, I mean, addiction screwed up because by bringing us all together, it's just making us stronger and just stomping, addiction's candy ass right back to hell where it belongs. And that's what we do. And I mean, shit, I didn't name it My Fight or War for nothing. I mean, addiction needs to be talked about the way the way it is and what it is. Addiction is evil. It's nasty. It's a freaking coward. Addiction comes at us when we're at our weakest. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what color your skin is, how much money you have, or where you live. Addiction's going to come at you, but addiction's screwed up, man, because we're here. We're alive. We are part of an elite fraternity of warriors, and we don't play, man. Addiction can, right there, kiss my ass. Addiction, wants to, play tough. We're here, man. And like I said, we're here. We got Lori, my sister Lori from Athens, Alabama. And again, because of this amazing family that we have and the people that I've been fortunate enough to meet, um, like I was talking to Brad earlier, I said, it started off with me in my truck talking on this phone, shoved in the little holder in my truck. So actually, I was outside. You guys know how much I talk about Father Solanus Casey Center, which I was at earlier and did a live from. That's where I was when I did Brad's show. I was actually sitting outside in my truck on Mount Elliott Street. For those of you who know, who are from Michigan or just visited, the Detroit area. Yeah, I was sitting right there in my truck, had my phone set up, and that's where I did my very first podcast with Brad McLeod. And I had no idea what I was doing. Never did one before. And I remember telling Brad, I'm like, yeah, what the hell? Let's just let her rip and see what happens. And you know what? Brad didn't have to do that. Man, when he found out that it was my very first show, because you just don't know as a host, you don't know what you're going to get unless some hosts will have like a pre-show like interview where you come on and you talk to the host. They get to know about you, your background, your story. Because when next thing you're doing a show, it's it can be scary. You come on there and all of a sudden you hear the host talking. And if you've never done a show before, you will all find out the first time you do a show. Because I remember sitting in my truck and I remember talking to Brad and he was explaining how things were going to go. And lo and behold, here I am 2 years later, and I get the pleasure of doing that to my guests. But I remember sitting there, and he explained how it was going to go. And he goes, "I'm going to pull you off screen." And ours, what we did that first show was strictly audio. It was just like being on the radio. I could see him, he could see me, but no one else could see us. It was just audio. So he goes on, and he does his intro, and here I am, and I'm like, "Holy shit! I'm about to do my first interview, my first podcast, I should say." And he comes on, sober's cool, Brad McLeod, blah blah blah, and we've got this, and he's talking about me. He's giving my backstory. Former Detroit police officer, 1% biker. He's been shot, he's been stabbed, and he's going on. And I'm listening to him talk, and I was just like, wow, this is kind of cool. Wait a minute, man, he's talking about me, like you hear on a show when they're doing the intro. And then it got real. I'm like, oh shit. And the next thing um, he says my name, and here we go. The show starts. And like I said, I had no preconceived notions of what to expect. And next thing you know, I absolutely loved it. It was like me and Brad, the way he did it, it was like talking to an old lost friend. And even though it was the first time we talked and did a show together, I think it went for well over an hour and a half or something like that by the time it edited and all that stuff. It was, but I mean, we planned it by, it was going to be, we'll just see how it goes. Because the last thing you want as a host is dead air. And sometimes you may get a guest who comes on and you do all the pre stuff and they're full of piss and vinegar, ready to let it rip. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're live. Let's do this. And you introduce the guest and it's just like, okay, so let's, tell us a little bit about yourself. And, for an example, and this has happened in the past with guests that I've had where it's like, I was them. And they're like, it would have been me going, I'm Manny Vitale. And then nothing. And then it's just like you freeze, man. And some people get stage fright and you just, get nervous. And, but by the grace of God, man, from my first show up until today, when I hit that button and once I see it says live, it's like a flip it of the switch. I just love it. And like today, I've had people, my brother Ian Bick, one time we were talking about doing lives, and Ian's like, because he doesn't do a whole lot of lives, and he was saying stuff, and I can't remember if it was our producer Matt Cronin. Someone was asking me. We were in our studio. Now I've been very blessed to not only have this studio here in Detroit, but we've got a studio in New York, Connecticut as well, that we fly to every 6 weeks. And we were talking to some of the guests that were in there, and they're like, you go live all these times. How do you know what you're going to talk about? And I'm like, I don't. I just, when I look at the camera and I look at the names, I'm looking at family. And it's just like, these are all family members who, probably 95% of them or more, I've never met in person. But yet you develop that camaraderie, that bond with, Lori, with, hi, it's Kalisha. Okay. Well, Kalisha, if you're on here, I don't see your name on here. So hi. And that's another thing too that I'm learning is I've had people before saying, how come you didn't acknowledge me? I said something or I posted something. And for whatever reason, it's on the phone because sometimes, um, well, when OG's here in studio, she's on the phone and she's screening a lot of, not screen, well, she's going through all the comments and questions. Um, and if there's certain ones that have questions for myself or the guest, she will print them out or she'll, notify me, hey, look, so and so's got a question. And I look over and there's nothing showing on my monitor. Just like right now, I don't see Kalisha's name on here at all. Um, who is I just absolutely love Kalisha, who is at Pinecase Podcast. Um, so if I do not acknowledge you, it's because it's not showing on my monitor in the studio. However, um, it may show up when it's on the phone. I don't know. But back to the live stuff. Like I said, I've had people asking about, going live all the time. And, I had a producer one time say, Manny, you can record your shows and edit stuff out and edit stuff on, or I mean, out of it that you don't want on. And it was when I first started. It was right after I did Brad's show, and I did Hard Knocks and a couple. Jacqueline, how you doing, honey? I had the good fortune of meeting this individual who's actually an actor in Hollywood, who was a hometown boy from Detroit. And I did I lied. Brad was not my first show. He was my first podcast. But before that, I actually got contacted by a studio in Port Huron, Michigan here. And somebody saw our page on Facebook, My Fight or War, and saw my video that I posted, and it was my story from my deathbed to My Fight or War, and I posted my video of why I started this family and everything that goes along with it. Again, not knowing what the hell I'm doing, but I figured, you know what, I'm going to do it. And in the meantime, I'm already talking to Brad, and he's like, listen, we want to set this up, to do this podcast. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we're going back and forth on the dates. And I think it was like the next day I get this phone call from the studio in Port Huron. They're like, listen, we saw your material on Facebook and on social media. We Googled you and we saw it there as well, which was, again, something new to me because I had no idea this stuff was being posted, where all of a sudden you're Googling your name and now that's showing up. So before the first show with Brad McLeod at Sober's Cool, this other show said, we'd like you to come out to Port Huron. And it was unreal. It was actually a professional. It was a news media outlet. And they had this person on there who did segments, and they wanted me to come on and share my story. So I agreed, obviously. And I set the date up, and whatever it was, I had to be there at, I think it was like just, oh no, you know what? There was two of them. I'm babbling to myself like you guys are sitting right here. Anyways, that was the first time I was actually in a professional studio. And I remember thinking, man, you see this stuff on TV, the backdrops, the desks, the people, and all this. Man, these must be really beautiful places. I walk into this place, and it's this little building. And I was like, okay. And then I go through these doors, and I'm meeting these individuals who were their marketers and directors and sound people and promotions people. And so then I go through this other door, and I'm meeting with some executives that run the actual business. And so they take me around, and all of a sudden this door opens into this room, and I look into these like 3 or 4 big, huge cameras, cables all over the floor. There's these huge lights, like which now I have here in mine, and all these other lights. And I look, and against the wall, they've got like all these tabletops propped up all over the wall out of camera's view. And then they've got another table like full of knickknacks and shit. And then another room where the sound people and the producers were. And I'm like, what the shit? And it was like, yeah, if it's a different show or the different segment, they pop this table off and they move this backdrop, and it makes it look like a whole new studio. So I'm just like, oh, shit. So that was actually my first in-house show that I did. Had no clue what I was doing, and I remember they were doing this countdown. They said, "Okay, the producer will be behind the camera. The cameraman will be doing the countdown. It'll be 5, 4, and and then of course they're showing me. They're going 5, 4, 3, and then at 3 they stop, but they go and do, and then 1, and then they point. But he goes, when we get to 3, we're going to stop talking or counting, but you count in your head to yourselves 2, 1, and then when we point, that means the camera's live. And I'm like, why don't you just point at me? And that means, so I'm looking, and the host of the show is sitting there, and she's all of a sudden not talking to me, and she's just sitting there. And there's like a mirror they have propped up for her, and she's like looking at herself. And then all of a sudden, this other guy's got a camera, like he holds it for a mirror in front of me, and I'm just like, "Oh, thanks a lot. You can get rid of that. You know, last thing I wanted to see was this. That's like I've said, I've got a face for radio, not TV." So they're laughing. They move the mirror, and I look over and I start to bullshit with the host. And it's like they're like, "Oh no, before the show, she just goes into her zone." I'm like, "The fuck, man! All right, whatever." So I'm sitting there, and I made friends with some of the staff there that morning because I was there quite a while before going live. And then all of a sudden, here comes the countdown. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm sure I'm already counting on myself to say something stupid or just screw up or whatever. But at this point, I'm like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just gonna. I said I was gonna do this. I'm gonna do it no matter what. And the one guy's in the back, and he starts the countdown. So he first time he did it, he did a mimic. He's like, let's do a practice run through. I'm like, I can count from 5 to 0. But no, so he has to do it. So he goes, okay, Manny, here we go. And he's like, 5, 4. And then he's like, and then as soon as he went to 1, because I'm supposed to be counting in my head, right? He goes, 3 or 2. And then when he got to 1, I went for 1. And they looked and they just started laughing. Well, everyone but the host. She did not find that amusing at all. And so that was my first introduction to actual in studio. And I had a riot because right then and there, I decided I don't, because off camera, these hosts and some of the people that I met that were also hosts of shows were so fake and different. As soon as the camera came on, they were putting on this facade and this bullshit, the way they talked, the way they looked and all that. And I guess, I don't know, maybe that's what you're supposed to do when you're on TV or doing these things. And that's fine, whatever, man. But I said from the get-go, I will never be anything but me. And so this guy that's a producer comes out and he's like, listen, man, um, we still don't believe this is your first show that you've done in studio, but I'd like to produce your show. And I'm like, I don't have a show. And he says, well, you do now. And he offered up a studio. And I was nervous as can be. But the thing is, he wanted me to turn into what I was surrounded by there at this studio, and I just wasn't having it. Um, he meant well, and I definitely appreciate anyone's help. But as I told him and a few others, I said, listen, I'm not going to change, who I am. I will listen to everyone's suggestions. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I definitely don't know it all at all. I know I don't. And you're a fool if you think you do know everything. So, but at the same time, this is the first thing in my life that I've actually created and formed 100% on my own. I never knew how to do anything in social media. I knew nothing about doing a show. I knew nothing about podcasting. Nothing at all. But I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew how I wanted it to be run. And that was it. I wasn't going to compromise you know, I came up with it. In fact, here's I've shown this before. This is the piece of paper on January the 8th. That night, my fight or war started. His very first day that I formed on Facebook was January the 9th, 2023. But January the 8th of 2023, I was sitting in my living room. And, after, for those of you who have no idea, who I am or my backstory, I'm not going to go into all that right now. But I was in the hospital because of my drinking, and my organs shut down. My pancreas, kidneys, and liver were shutting down. They were functioning, but they were barely functioning. So they, I was in the hospital, and for about a month, I was in ICU most of the time, half the time rather. I coded twice, and they finally walked into my room, and Dr. Death woke me up. There I was all by myself, and he proceeds to tell me that people with numbers such as mine, the lab work from my blood work, 6 out of 10 people don't make it. Well, here I am laying in this bed, all alone in this room, is a banana because of my jaundice. I mean, yellow as can be. Um, I'm hallucinating because of the and liver failure and all that. I'm on Dilaudid because the pancreatitis was so severe and the pain was killing me. So I'm delirious from that. And he's proceeding to talk to me alone, telling me about statistics and numbers. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I started laughing. I go, well, I'm glad I'm not like those six because we're sitting here having a conversation. He goes, Manny, you don't understand. He goes, your numbers are much worse. Now he froze for a second. He says, the whole time you've been here, you've been in organ failure. Your organs have been functioning, but barely. He goes, unfortunately, in the last 24 hours plus, your organs have completely shut down. Your pancreas, kidneys, and liver have all shut down. They are no longer functioning. And when that happens, there's no coming back. Your organs cannot start functioning again on your own. There is no magic pill. There's no magic cure. There's no IV. That's it. And I'm just sitting there looking at him like, okay. And don't forget, I'm still not processing things correctly because of the state of mind that I'm in. So he says, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. And he said, um, others will be coming in to talk to you. And he gets up and leaves. I'm like, so I'm out of it. I ended up passing out. I woke up, and it was a little while later, and this gentleman had an associate with him that he worked with, this younger female doctor who was just a sweetheart. This guy that was just in there, he had the personality of a freaking used tampon, man. The guy was just useless. So, he was very, but anyway. So I wake up and I see his associate standing in my room, just staring at me, and startled me. And as soon as I woke up and I'm looking at her, all of a sudden she started to cry. And like I said, I've been in there a month. We've had we got a relationship started, the whole time there, seeing her every day. And as soon as she started to cry, I knew that everything that I heard from Dr. Death was bad. And she said, I know that you talked to my associate. Um, and then it got real. And I remember saying to her, I go, please, there's got to be something you can do. She started crying more, and she said, I'm sorry, Manny. She said, your organs have completely shut down. There's nothing we can do. And she came over, she sat on my bed, and she's holding my hand. And I just looked at her, and I just said, how long do I have? And she started to cry some more, and she said, you've got less than 6 weeks to live. And I was just like, here it is. I woke up that morning. I had my breakfast. I, was sitting in this room, doctors going by just like the day before, the day before. But this day, I was woken up to this this information. And I remember just looking at her. No tears, no crying, just in this dismay that I was just told that I'm going to be dead in less than 6 weeks. And she's like, I'm so sorry. She said, there's nothing we can do. Hospice is here. The staff from hospice, the doctors and nurses came in, um, talked to them, met them, and they were explaining to me how I'm going to be comfortable. They're going to make sure that I am not in any pain or discomfort up until my demise, until the day I die. I'm literally having this conversation with these doctors about my impending death. Um, they sat down and they said, would you like us to wait for your family to get here? And I was like, no. So they left. Now, think about this, man. You wake up, have your breakfast in the hospital room, and all of a sudden, an hour later, you find out that you're going to be dead soon. And not only that, you got to now call your mom, your family, your loved ones, and tell them that you're going to die soon. I mean, think about that. Making that call. I had to make that call. So I pick up the phone, call my mom. She's just like, oh, hi. She said, I'm just getting ready to run out to the store. I'll be coming up to the hospital soon to see you. Do you need anything? And I'm just hearing her voice, thinking, I'm not going to hear this voice soon. I want to be dead soon. And I'm thinking, how do I tell my mom that her son's going to be dead in a few weeks? And I'm like, listen, Ma, I need you to come to the hospital right now. And she goes, I will. She goes, I have run around to do, and I'm trying to stay calm. I'm like, no, I really need you to come now. I need you here now. And she's like, well, I've got things to do. She has no idea that her son is going to be dead here. Now, don't forget, they said less than 6 weeks to live. So it could be any time. So I'm trying to, let her know I need her here now. She finally gets there with other family members and loved ones. And I'm thinking, how do you tell your loved one that you're going to be dead? Say goodbye to them. Usually it's the ones who are alive that they call to come to the hospital after you've died or as you're about to die while you're no longer conscious and you say your goodbyes to somebody. Here I am calling them to come in so I can tell them that I am going to leave them soon. I mean, just think about that seriously for a second. And that's what I had to do. So when I hung up, I'm thinking, how am I going to say this to my mom when she walks through that door? How do you say that to your mother? My father passed away pretty much a year ago, the month before. I'm sorry, a month later. And so she walks in, and along with a family friend of mine. And I remember looking at him, and I never cried. I just stared. And I said, I'm so sorry, but I have to leave you. And I said, my organs have shut down. I have less than 6 weeks to live. And they just stared at me. And, you don't expect to hear that shit, you know. And I said, of course, there was this dismay, this look of what? And they're like, what are you talking about? Because I'm having this conversation with them the same way I'm talking to you guys right now. I mean, I wasn't, that out of it. I was still conscious enough to have this conversation. And so, some of my family, the loved ones, my aunt, started crying, holding my hand. And I still didn't even cry, but my mom didn't say a word. She comes over and starts talking to me about something else. It was just like, Ma, and I looked at her, I go, I am so sorry. I go, I love you. I go, I'm sorry. And she's like, no, no. I'm like, no. She goes, no. I go, Ma, this is, we have to come to grips with this. The doctors just left, hospice was just left. I have less than 6 weeks. We need to deal with this. No, that was my mom. No. She goes, it's not up to them. It's up to God. It's not up to them. And that was it. She goes, I don't want to talk about it. And that was it. There was no more conversation with my mom about this conversation. It was like those words were never said about me dying. Um, she walked out. The rest of the family's crying and all that. And I'm in there with them. They're holding my hand, hugging me. I mean, just the normal reaction when you hear something like I just told them. They actually, at first, they all thought that I was hallucinating until the doctors walked in and told them all that, they said, because my aunt said, well, it's probably just the medication. You heard them wrong. And it just so happened hospice was there and they were like, no, no, you didn't hear wrong. We're from hospice. We're taking over his care. We're so sorry. And meanwhile, I'm part of this conversation. I'm sitting there talking with them about my impending death. And it was just unbelievable. So then they said, we're going to send you home to die. They come in, they said, we got to take some blood from you because we're going to transfer all the records to hospice. And so that's what we got to do. So they came in, drew my blood. And next thing you know, it was like 4 hours later, they're coming back and they drew blood again. And they're like, well, they made up some bullshit about why. I'm like, why are you taking more blood from a dead guy? So they came in 4 hours after that with more people taking more blood. And I'm still not really focusing on that because everything that's transpiring right now. And the next day, next thing you know, they're coming in every 4 hours taking blood. But every time there's besides the lab techs, there's doctors and nurses coming in with them, asking me questions and stuff. I was like, what the hell? And they still wouldn't tell me why. And I was like, listen, I want to get out of here. And they said, well, there's an issue with paper, whatever. They were making excuses, is what it was. And they said, it's going to be a few days before we can release you. And I was like, I don't want to die here. Bottom line is, next thing you know, 7 days passed. 7 days, and again, you're going to be dead less than 6 weeks. So every day that I shut my eyes, I thought could have been my last day. And every day, more people drawing blood. The very last day, seventh day, my room was packed full of these phlebotomists, nurses, doctors, and they're all just staring at me with their iPads and talking to each other. And Dr. Death's at the foot of my bed with his associate. And I'm looking around and I'm like, what? I go, this is bullshit. What the hell is going on? And Dr. Death is staring at me. All of a sudden, he starts smiling and he starts laughing. The dude that told me I'm going to be dead in 6 weeks is standing there laughing at me. To which I politely said, I go, you evil prick. You're sending me home to die and you're laughing at me. Well, he starts laughing some more. And I turn and I look, and all the doctors that are in here are giggling away and laughing. I'm like, am I already dead? Is this like hell? They're making fun of the dead guy. His associate comes over, sits at the foot or sits on my bed. She's holding my hand and she said, Manny, we're sending you home, but not to die. We're sending you home to live. She said, the reason all these docs are here are because when we drew your blood to transfer it to hospice, of course, it was going to be the same as when we did it before. No change, because everything's shut down. But when we got your lab results, there was fluctuation in all of your labs. Kidneys, pancreas, and liver all showed deviations, which we obviously know can't happen when your organs aren't functioning. So they came back and did the redraw. and then another and another. Every time they redrew my labs, the numbers were increasing, getting better until that seventh day is when they walked in and they informed me that they weren't sending me home to die, but to live because my lab work was now at normal range. My kidneys, pancreas, and liver were now functioning at normal rate. Normal rate. All three. You talk about a blessing. Um, and that's why all those specialists were there. There were docs that came in from out of state to talk to me and to poke and prod and all this stuff. I felt like an exhibit at the zoo. But that's why I started my fight our war. And that's why, you know, and sorry for this sun that's about to come going right across my face, as you can see here. So it may look a little funky here shortly. But the whole point of that long drawn out story about me still being alive is that was 5 years ago. Back in 2020 is when all this happened. I was supposed to be dead in less than 6 weeks. It's 2025. I'm still here. This lovely rendition that I drew was 3 years after the fact. I drew this little drawing here. I always knew I wanted to do something to help. But the old me always would talk shit, and never follow through. So for 3 years, I knew I wanted to do something to help people, but I just never had it in me. 3 years later, I'm sitting in my living room, and all of a sudden I stand up. It was like someone literally picked me up out of the couch, out of the chair. And I walk into the kitchen, and I had this piece of paper on it and a pen laying on the table. And I'm just sitting there. And all of a sudden I look down, and I decided at that moment, I am going to start a social media family on social media to help people dealing with addiction and mental health issues. So as I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, shit, I have no idea what I'm doing, how to do it, but I know I have to have a name. I can't just have Manny Vitale's site for all you drunks, you drug addicts. Follow me. So I'm sitting there, and I remember thinking, God, please help me, help me think of a name. And as God is my witness, man, I'm sitting there. And when they say you've been blessed, I know I've been blessed. Organ failure, should have been dead in 6 weeks. Prior to that, I've had many encounters because of my crazy ass lifestyle. I was involved in a ton of fights and shit. I had a guy shove a gun right in my face. Turned around, there's a gun right here, shoved in my face. We start fighting for the gun, and he pulls the trigger. By the grace of God, I'm still alive, but I have a plate underneath my eye where my bone shattered. I'm alive. I did not lose my eyesight. Very blessed. Less than a year later, I'm involved in another fight. Get slit with a razor knife right down the side of my eye, the side of my face. Yeah, my appendix burst. I had sepsis. I had a surgery go wrong, and both of my lungs filled with blood. I've had at least 5 or 6 occasions where I should have been dead. I'm still here, so I have been blessed. So as I'm sitting at that table thinking of all this, I'm like, just please, I know that I'm here for a reason. All of a sudden, I pick up my pen and I write my fight, our war. And this is the exact paper. And I didn't just write it, I wrote it just as you see. And there was nothing in the middle, but I wrote it just like that. And I was like, my fight, our war. It made no sense. And then I sat there and I looked up. I'm like, my fight. Some people, dealing with addiction, mental health. Some people, their fight might be alcohol, their fight might be heroin, their fight might be meth, it might be cocaine, it might be this, that might be their fight. But our war is addiction. I look up, I'm like, man, you are good. My fight, our war. Our name was created by God above, man. And this was all in like 5 minutes. I wrote this. And if that's not enough, I put the pen down and I wrote right here. You can see underneath, and it's back here on our logo. Join our pack and you'll never be alone. This is supposed to be a wolf in the middle. Hey, it is what it is. You can see the one back there looks a lot better. I've always loved wolves. I've loved the wolf mentality, the wolf pack mentality. I've got a huge tattoo of a wolf on my middle of my back. And my fight, our war was formed. So, you know, just there's so much positive, so many positive things have come about because of addiction, because of me finally pulling my head out of my ass, finally, just giving myself up to a higher power. And I've always said from the beginning, um, I don't know what I'm doing, starting these stuff. I don't know what I'm doing with IT stuff, with studios and all this other stuff, but I know in my heart what I want to do. And it's one of those things where, I was going to do it and I was going to do it, my way. And by the grace of God, man, it took off where we were all here together. And I'm sorry, I was sitting here, and as I said, with my IT skills, and without OG here, doing all this stuff, I didn't see um, the people who chimed in. And I do see OG is finally here. Thanks a lot, OG. Yeah, you're late. Um, Tracy, my brother Michael, Jeremy, thank you guys for popping on. And you know what? I was going to pop OG on. I wonder if I could do it now. Let's find out. Um, well, OG, I'm about to send you a invite, and let's see if it's going to work. Let's see. This is you guys getting a chance to watch me live really screw something up completely on my own. So I don't know what's going to happen to the screen right now. But what I'm going to attempt to do is send an invite to OG. What might happen is the screen might go completely blank and we might start this whole thing all over again. Let's find out. So here we go, guys. Let's see. First of all, let me write this down. I don't even know if you're ready, OG, but too bad. I'm setting it anyways. R B E H. All right, let's see what happens. This will be a first. All right. Well, I don't know if you guys are still there. I don't know if OG got it. but we'll find out. It worked. Hold on a minute. Let's look at that. IT skills. Who needs IT, guys? I got it. Hold on. Here she comes. Look at that.
Hi.
Hey, what?
I wasn't sure. Can you hear me?
What?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
What?
Ah,
I could do this all day. And she's sitting there
I
going,
know, and
what?
I'd say, what?
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 Okay, let me. Okay.
All right. Well, I started this exactly 56 minutes and 16 seconds ago, and I was going to come on just for a minute and talk about what's going. Oh, there comes that sunlight. Look at that.
But
Well,
at least your face, the color in your face looks better.
yeah, I'm no
Yeah,
longer.
the red is faded a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, you know what? I figured I'm just going to come on and chit chat for as long as Last I checked, this is my studio, and I could hit this go live button and just go as long as we want. People could chime in and let's have a nice conversation with everybody. My brother John from the other night is on here, and I know him and Donald were chit chatting back and forth about coming on the show.
Right. They're coming up.
So John's coming on, and we got
Donald's coming next Monday.
Tracy was nice enough to pop on here as
Yeah.
well. I had all these people who, and of course, Brother Michael was on. I don't know who's still here, who's not. Jeremy Ross, because you weren't here doing your job. Doing the
I did have to go to work today.
no excuse. Multitask. You're the one that said hello. You're the one that
I
said,
did.
how can I
Yes,
help?
I did.
So,
Oof, boy.
and that's a whole nother story. But you know what? I'm off till May. So I'm comfortable. I got 2 waters. Let's just keep talking. I
April's coming
work
up.
out.
Can you go back to work in April?
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? Don't mess with the guy with the controls because I could just go like that.
Yeah, okay.
OG is the admin of my fighter war, who basically is in charge of everything. Everything. And, which, oh, by the way, just so you can't yell at me in front of everybody if anyone's still here. We have a show set up for this Friday, I think, with our new friend, our new family member, Eric.
Eric who?
I don't know.
Okay. Eric. Hi, Eric.
Actually,
if you're on, if not,
here he
whenever
is.
you come on. Hi, Eric.
We are going to be on with Eric Moretz. Eric Moretz. I had a nice conversation with our brother Eric, and that's all because of this gentleman right here. My man,
Brad. All right, Brad
McLeod, who I got a phone call when I was getting the Wonder Dogs food. This light is bugging the shit out of me.
Don't worry about it. That looks good.
I was sitting getting the Wonder Dogs food, and all of a sudden the phone goes off. I look down, and it's the one and only Brad McLeod.
Oh, nice.
So I grabbed the phone, and he goes, I didn't know if you were going to answer, legend. And I'm like,
legend.
I go, I see your name. I answer. And Brad McLeod is the one and only host and from Sober is Cool. And I already went through how everything he's done for me. And he is doing a special on, I think it was 2 years later, whatever it is. There's a special where they're doing a follow-up on all of us, challenged individuals that have been a guest on his show. And he asked me to be part of this, which was extremely meant the world to me. I love Brad. Like I said, if it wasn't for him and Donna, I may not be sitting here. And so I said yes. And then as we were talking, he said, we were talking about guests coming on, and and sharing, information for guests to come on each other's shows. And next thing you know, Eric, I've already talked to. There's another gentleman. I sent you the information. Luke and another one, I believe his name is Kevin, that we are in the process of getting their
Let me
information.
write this stuff down.
I sent it to you. I texted them out to
okay.
you.
Okay.
You
Thank
got
you.
all the. I sent their profile pages to you, and I already informed them that you'll be in touch with them because I'm not allowed to do stuff anymore.
No, you're not.
Except for this Wednesday. So, and I set the show up for Brad without telling you. And sure as shit, I'm like, look at that. Did it all on my own. And I'm like, shit. I already got something scheduled. So I had to go back and say, Brad, OG screwed up and didn't tell me that.
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
but I'll be there tomorrow because I'm off tomorrow.
Well, we got tomorrow. We're going live with my brother Skylar Ray and Music and Mayhem. Let's see, we got anyone else pop on here. So what?
Don't you have Brad McLeod at 1:00 tomorrow also?
Oh yeah. No, I think it's 1:30. I'm still waiting for.
Okay.
Yeah. So make sure I don't forget about that.
Yeah. Oh no, I remember that because we were talking about the video visit. The doctor visit. And I'm like, what day is who you doing what when?
Well, I've got different shows and I've got a different office visit. I've got this. The first one's still showing confirmed for Thursday, but I rescheduled it for tomorrow, and I reached out to make sure that it is switched.
The video visit is Thursday at 1:00.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
Brad McLeod is tomorrow.
Yeah, so we've got. I'm in. And Kevin is also going to be on. I sent you his information. In fact, I'm looking at it as we speak. Okay. So I've got
Eric, Kevin.
I'm in. So Kevin's in, Eric's in, Luke's in, and these are all. Brad said, shoot you a message about possibly looking for someone. I'm definitely up. Yep. Kevin Herbert is going to be on. So we got Kevin. We have Eric. And we have Luke. Luke, I am your father. So these guys, if they're
Matthew,
watching.
Mark, Luke, and John. Let's get the four big ones.
If they're watching right now, they're going to be like, dude, I am not coming on his show.
What's wrong with this man?
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. What do we got? Look at John here popping in. Hit share if you're watching. Let's help spread the message of sobriety, importance of good mental fitness. There you go, brother. That's what it's all about. So, John, we appreciate you. And there is Kalisha.
Oh, Kalisha.
I tell you what, I was telling people how, I'll sit there and I'm watching the monitor, and if we have a guest on, I'm busy talking with the guest, and you're doing your thing and you're talking about people. And I look over, I'm like, they're not on. And then you're like, they're right here. I'm talking to them. So I was explaining how what you see on the phone, what I don't see on the monitor at times. And I think it was Lori popped on to say hi from Athens, Alabama. And she said, hi, Kalisha. And I was like, I don't. So, and I go, Kalisha, I'm not. I go, I love you, honey. I would never ignore you. So she is now. I see her. It was probably an hour ago. But yeah, I see Kalisha's there. So thank you. And I think we're all caught up, since you took the afternoon off here and decided not to do your job on the show. So that's all right. That's all right. Me and Susie were holding down the fort.
Yeah. Well, now that you fed her, you finally bought her some food.
Yeah, that's Susie's eating. But yeah, man, I was talking with Eric and letting him know what to expect. And after watching this, he's probably like, oh no.
Maybe not. Yeah.
No. But Eric, if I'm sure you're probably still not watching. I mean, that was an hour and
You're gonna
5
have
minutes
fun,
ago.
Eric. You're gonna have fun.
You're I told him, he goes, how many people watch this? I go, dude, this is my show. I go, this is my show we're talking about. At least 2, And there's so many platforms that we all share with each other, and we get a really good turnouts. So by sharing your story, you're sharing it with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
somebody needs to hear your story.
Someone needs to hear it, and it's helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're just getting them. So I will give you Luke, and who the other one did I say? Kevin,
Eric, Luke.
Well, I will give you their information, and you can take it from there.
Well, when I get there tomorrow, I'll start sending everything out. We'll set up some dates. What's going on? Come over here to say.
It's just a little old me. No, just Kalisha. Yeah, just a little old me, no big deal. I mean, no.
Kalisha, it's not the same without you.
I just spit out my tea out my nose, but look, let's not underestimate 2 people.
2 very important people.
No, that was from how many people are watching. I'm like, that's what I. Okay, we gotta explain it to OG.
Don't explain it.
That was not us do. It was a whole 2 people that are watching. See, that's why I go on Kalisha's show, because she got the numbers, man. I get to tell people who we are, what we do. And for those of you who are wondering what I'm talking about, Kalisha and Calico have just an incredible podcast with Pine Case Podcast. Definitely check them out. They have got just incredible guests on their show with amazing stories. And I always love, getting a chance to come on with them. And we still got to get Kalisha on here and Calico.
Yeah. So I'll reach out.
Definitely. We got to get you guys going. Turn your pain into purpose. Hey, Phyllis joined us. And speaking of Kalisha, Phyllis, this whole thing, man, it goes full circle. Phyllis was a guest on our show, and talking with her, all of us, that have shows, that are hosts of shows, we all talk, because so and so maybe you'll watch a show and they'll say, "Hey, man, we saw that show with so and so. We'd love to have them on ours as well." So we share information about our guests as well. And Phyllis had the good fortune of being a guest on Kalisha's show on Pine Case Podcast. So you can see her there. And I just saw that they are.
Benjamin Lerner's on tonight. Whoa.
Tonight we will definitely be tuning in to see that. Benjamin is just an amazing person.
So much energy.
In so many different ways. Of course, everyone knows Benjamin Lerner and is a incredible rapper with an amazing story. Had him on our show, Music and Mayhem, with me and Skylar Ray. Had him on My Fight Our War, telling his story. And you nailed it. I mean, you talk about energy and positivity. I mean, he is just incredible. So please, everyone, go to Pine Case Podcast with Kalisha Campbell and Calico and Benjamin Lerner tonight.
What time, Kalisha?
I was just about to say, throw out your link, Kalisha, so we can share that with everybody as well. Caleb has joined us.
Hey, Caleb.
How's everyone doing this beautiful day? Just jumping on the show to show some love. Hope all is well. It's better now that you've joined us. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's been an hour and 10 minutes of me just blah, 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 blah. Yep.
And they stay. Or like last night. Last night, you almost 2 hours last night. Woo.
We had, for those of you who didn't see, Please check it out. On our Monday show, we had a good friend, our brother Keith Waller, that is part of the Gym Rats that over at
Powerhouse. Oh, good.
that
Kalisha,
is
thank you.
Kalisha's for. So please, everybody, if you are watching, please copy that link down for tonight's show with Benjamin Lerner on Pine Case Podcast with Kalisha Campbell and Calico. But last night on My Fight Our War, we had Keith Waller, who is our brother and part of the Breakfast Club family at Powerhouse Gym, part of the Gym Rat family. And I tell you what, it was a different show. It was the whole kind of not theme, the whole
different vibe altogether.
The atmosphere was very different. He's a retired police officer, does a lot of just incredible things, not only still within the community, but also mission work in Haiti with him and his wife and his association that he formed. Just does amazing things. Kalisha is 8 p.m. Mountain. It moved. 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay.
So 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and Benjamin Lerner, Kalisha Campbell, Pine Case Podcast, Calico Hunt. You do not want to miss it. Trust me. I've had the pleasure of having Benjamin on a few of our different times, and he's got a heart of gold, man, and great person. And you won't find a better person to have on there running the show than Kalisha herself. She is absolutely amazing. You do not want to miss it. So chime in to Pine Case Podcast, 8 p.m. Mountain, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And I don't think there's anything else that I haven't covered. I've covered everything, man.
Okay, just to confirm, tomorrow, Brad McLeod, you're with Brad McLeod at 1:00 or 1:30?
Supposedly 1:30.
Okay.
But I just checked, and it's still saying Thursday. But I said rescheduled, and I rescheduled it. I wonder what happens if I reschedule the reschedule. Let's see. All right. Brad McLeod. Add to calendar, reschedule. If I hit that. Sorry, this event has already
been canceled.
What? Uh-oh. Okay.
You better call him.
Well, he was on here, and I sent him a message, and so let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. We're live right now.
Yes, we are.
You're making me blush. Love you guys so much. Well, you know what, Kalisha? Okay. It's easy to say, because that's you.
It's easy to say when it's the truth.
April 3rd. What's this? Oh, where'd it go? April 3rd, Moonshine Bandits, West Chicago. I'll be celebrating 6 years sobriety at the concert.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations, brother. And
nice.
I am pretty damn sure that the Moonshine Bandits play with a bunch of my boys that I love listening to, which is Smo and Ryan Upchurch, if I'm not mistaken. So, John, if you're watching still, let me know if I'm right. I believe it's who else? Adam Calhoun, and who else of the Moonshine Bandits play that I love their music.
You've got a great memory.
Oh, who was it? I listened. Anyways, it's got to be them. But anyways, 6 years, man, and that's April 3rd for John Toole. Congratulations, man. And this is from Phyllis. And I appreciate that I was able to chill and relax and just be me. And what
Excellent.
Phyllis is talking about is, where was it? Phyllis was a guest on, as I said, on Cleese's show, and I thought there might have been something else on there. But yeah, man, that's you get some of the shows, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we're very particular. The different shows that we associate with, and that's
Yep.
not,
Yep.
that's just we are part of a very um, strong, united family here in
Mm-hmm.
what we do, and we're very careful about who we associate with, and you have to
Got to
be,
be authentic.
and that's just it. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to us as hosts, we look out to other shows that we respect and want to be part of, and that they do the same for us, and we share information, and so that was a no brainer getting you on there, Phyllis. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that that it went well for you. I knew that because I know that you were nervous. We talked a little bit,
She did great.
and but you did amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, John, we got a little bit of um, okay. Let's see.
By
John's
the way, that
sobriety
red and
date
black chair looks
is,
good.
doesn't it look good with matches the
Looks really
logo?
good. Yeah.
Sobriety
Friday
date
date, March
is March
15th.
15th, but the concert was until April. It's delayed celebration,
Celebrate
and
every day.
every day is a
Every day's a
celebration. So
celebration. Exactly.
March 15th was
Yay.
6 years for our
The
brother
Ides of
John.
March. Okay. The Ides of
There
March.
you
That's
go,
right.
brother. Congratulations. And I was right. The Moonshine Bandits. Where'd it go? I got the wrong. Oh yeah, no, I got the right one up there. Um, as far as the guys that were singing in that, they were all part of the
Yeah.
same one. I've got it on my, and I love those, man. There's a song by, I believe it's Adam Calhoun, called Crossroads. Every time I hear it, it's just like there's this one verse. It says, I'm still climbing the mountain. I'm trying to find you, God. It's just a great song. And then this one version, or this one, not version, this one, whatever verse. It says,
Okay.
talking about God, and it says, if you could turn water into wine, I'm sure you make a hell of a shine. And I was just like, yes. um,
Just don't
what do
sing
you
it.
got? Oh, I would, someone, oh, Brad McLeod. He asked me because we were talking about some of the singers and entertainers and performers that we have on the show. And he goes, how long before we hear you singing? I go,
Oh.
do you know how rich I would be? And there was silence. I said, by people paying me not to sing. I said, these people that I have come on the show are amazing at their
hmm
craft and get paid a lot of money to perform. All I would have to do is go up there one time and start to perform, start to sing, start to rap, and the the money would come flying just to shut up.
Please stop.
We will pay
Please
you
stop.
double. Please stop singing, Manny. Do not sing again. I could just make a shit ton of money.
Mm.
Um, let's see what else. I want to meet them so bad. Old me didn't think I would. What's this, John? Well, you
Oh,
know
yeah.
what?
Well,
That's a
there's a
lot
lot
of
of
our
those.
stories, brother. And we're here. And thank God we are.
hmm
So Karen's now with us. Karen, thank you for joining in this hour and 19-minute long blah, blah, blah fest that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I just wanted to pop on here and start talking. Susie the Wonder Dog she's in her chair now. She's got her chair that's in the corner,
Okay.
and she's literally laying on her side with her head upside down.
She's just chilling.
She is just cracking me up. But other than that, man, I think we pretty much covered so much. Well, somebody was late, but
Didn't know you're going live. Of course, you're
no,
always going
hey,
live.
I was saying you're supposed to use the force. But unless anyone has any
Lives to save.
questions.
Thank you very much. Just saying. Just saying.
So, let's see if we know that John's still here and Karen's here. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, before we end this,
you sound like you could use
here.
some tea.
Yeah, I'm starting to lose the voice a little bit.
Why don't you make yourself a cup of tea?
Kalisha, you have a great night. We'll be looking for you tonight.
Yeah.
With Benjamin Lerner.
That's right. 8:00 Mountain Time.
Yeah, and we will be looking forward to that because besides Kalisha and Calico doing one amazing job over at Pine Case Podcast, they make it so easy for the guests and coming on and just being themselves, feeling comfortable, not pressuring anybody, not making any of their guests feel uncomfortable at any time. So a great job, man. And other than that, you guys, I appreciate you. Love you guys. And I'm sorry for OG just talking your ear off, but so when she's on a roll, boy, she just doesn't stop. And it's just blah,
you
blah,
have no
blah,
idea.
blah. Oh my God. It's just like, okay, we get it.
Actually, that's always a warning sign. Actually,
and you hear that, you might as well just sit back take a nap, set an alarm, because she's going to be going. But we're going to have a busy upcoming. Our events are filling up. Like I said, we have to get in touch with Eric. We have to get in touch with him. Or I should say, I have to get in touch with him to set this up because I already got that ball rolling for this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time because he's an hour behind us. So he's an hour behind, but I told him you'd be getting ahead of him or getting a hold of him to give him a heads up on.
I will.
Let him know about sending you the email and a picture for the promo. So if you could take care of that, and also Luke and Kevin, and we'll take care of those as well. So other than that, to Karen, Kalisha, to John, Phyllis, and go right on down the line. Who else we got? I already said John and Stacy and Tracy, Michael, Jeremy, Jacqueline. I'm sure you guys have been gone for, let's see, we've been on an hour and 23. You've probably been gone now an hour and 22 minutes. I'm sure you stuck around for that 2.5 minutes. Our sister, Lori. Yeah, here's what she posted. It said, it didn't say hi, Manny. It didn't say hi, OG. It said, hey, Kalisha. I was like,
okay, yeah, we're just here. Okay. Taking up space.
And then what else did she put?
Did you send her the picture of the waffle this morning?
I did. What did y'all call it?
Reaper? Reader?
Reaper. Yeah. I was so goofy high. Well, I mean.
Oh, don't go the story now. Wait it for another time.
Reefer. I mean, instead of reader and grass, I was goofy high. Carol Payne was on, and this is how Lori made her debut. Manny! And of course, King Handsome.
Oh, King Handsome. Yeah, getting pretty soon. He's going to be, Jazz is going to have that baby.
There's going to be a little baby whoa, April 20th, I believe. April 20th. Everyone send some positive thoughts and prayers to our brother King Handsome and his other half Jazz as they are expecting a little whoa on April
AJ's
20th.
Got April 1st.
Our other brother, AJ Galante, part of our Connecticut family, is expecting.
There's a shirt. There's a shirt.
Trashers. And
there's Donald.
There's what?
Donald. Is that old or is that recent?
Who?
Donald Boy, you just put him up there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. He's on. And I know you're going to be in touch with Donald as well. Right?
Of course. Well, he's coming on Monday.
Who is?
Donald.
Oh, Donald's coming on Monday. Oh, This coming Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Donald, I'm sure you're not watching anymore either, but OG
okay.
will be getting a hold of you. And here's what Brad had to say.
There you go.
And then I had to inform everybody how much money I had to pay him
to say that.
To say that, that's just Brad though. I mean, he popped in because he brought Eric on, and of course his first comment, he was the first one on, and he led with that.
That's perfect.
So everybody has been accounted for. Thank you guys. That's for the record. That's an hour, 26 minutes and 22 seconds that you will never get back again.
But they've become enlightened by listening to you.
Well, yeah, there's it was probably Karen's the last one on who was like, thank God I missed all that. All right, guys. Well, I got to go find me some dinner and wake up the Wonder Dog woke up. So now I am going to
maybe a cup of tea. Just saying.
I was just going to say, got to go rest this voice and get ready for tomorrow's show with Brad McLeod at Sober's Cool.
There you go.
So I will be in touch with you. I will see you tomorrow morning. I have got to be at the gym, so I will be there tomorrow morning. And then, of course, it's time for Appalachian waffle time. All right. Well, OG, go rest your voice from yapping so much. So you guys have a great night. Keep fighting a good fight, and I will see you in the morning.
Bye.
Let's see what happens with this.